What you was thinking when Tank did that when he took the knee? What you was thinking when he took the knee?
I can't speak.
That as a knockdown. And if Steve Willis counts that as a knockdown, Lamont wins by 1 point on 2 scorecards.
Those times, there's a count, dude. I mean, and I'll tell you what, Steve Willis also knew there was a count because he started counting and then stopped.
Referee Steve Willis has finally addressed Gervonta Davis taking a knee during his fight against Lamont Roach. The moment stirred controversy, as Willis chose not to rule it a knockdown, instead allowing the fight to proceed without a count.
What you was thinking when Tank did that when he took the knee? What you was thinking when he took the knee?
I can't speak.
Can't speak on that?
Can't speak.
He did some bullshit though?
I can't speak.
No personal opinion, nothing?
Can't. Especially you.
Experts have analyzed the moment Gervonta "Tank" Davis took a knee against Lamont Roach, comparing it to past cases where fighters voluntarily went down without a clear punch. Examples include Floyd Mayweather, Miguel Cotto, and Chris Algieri, all of whom took a knee in tough moments. And each time, referees ruled it a knockdown. In Davis's case, referee Steve Willis began counting but then stopped, sparking debate over whether it should have been officially recorded as a knockdown.
Against Carlos Famoso Hernandez, when he lands the punch and turns his back and takes a knee, he gets counted. You think of Miguel Cotto against Antonio Margarito, where, you know, it was under duress and he just took that knee. And of course, my compadre right here, Chris Algieri against Ruslan Provodnikov as well. It wasn't a particular shot. You feel something, you feel discomfort, you take a knee. All those times, there's a count, dude. I mean, and I'll tell you what, Steve Willis also knew there was a count because he started counting and then stopped.
Referee Jack Rice, a respected official, weighed in on the controversy, highlighting the flexibility of boxing's rules. He emphasized that the referee has full authority in the ring, including determining if a fighter is down and whether a fight should continue. Rice also noted that referees must handle fouls, issue warnings, deduct points, or even disqualify a fighter based on the situation's severity. Clarifying what constitutes a knockdown, Rice stated that a fighter is considered down if any part of their body, aside from the soles of their feet, touches the canvas due to a legal punch. The key debate, according to Rice, is whether Tank Davis's knee was the result of a punch or simply an attempt to clear his vision after dealing with grease in his eyes.
Let me just put out to you guys 3 rules of what a referee has to follow. First of all, the referee is the sole arbiter, the only person able to determine whether to stop a fight or not, and anything else that happens in a ring. The second is part of his ability to do things when fouls occur. If a boxer fouls or acts in an unsportsmanlike manner during the bout or in between rounds, the referee should admonish or disqualify the offending boxer, depending upon the severity of the offense. And number 3, talks about penalizing and points. While warnings are generally preferred, the severity of a foul can warrant the immediate point deduction without any prior warnings. So now what gives a referee the ability to call what you guys are talking about as a knockdown, I don't know if you guys know, maybe you can tell me, if not, I'll surely tell you. Do you guys know what the description of a legal knockdown is?
When asked about taking a knee during his fight against Lamont Roach, Tank Davis clarified that it wasn't due to a punch, but rather grease getting into his eyes. He explained that he simply knelt to wipe his face and regain clear vision, dismissing any concerns about weakness. Addressing fan reactions, Davis acknowledged the fickle nature of public opinion in boxing, saying, "They love you, then they hate you," recognizing how quickly support can turn into criticism. Despite the controversy, he remained unfazed, confident in his abilities, and focused on his career. While the moment sparked debate among analysts and fans, Davis stands by his explanation, showing resilience as he continues his boxing journey.
Tank, you voluntarily took a knee midway through this fight. It was not ruled a knockdown. What happened?
I just got my hair done 2 days ago and she put grease in my shit, so the shit was like, you know, like when you sweating and things like that and the grease come in my face. It burnt my eyes type shit. Damn, why y'all booing like I'm saying bullshit? Like, this is real facts. Come on, man. Look at my hair. I just got my shit done. But it's all cool, man. You know how I get. They love you and then they hate you. Turn around and love you again. You know what I mean?
Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp analyzed the fight but had different views. While Stephen A. agreed with the official decision, Sharp believed Lamont Roach had actually won. He argued that despite Tank Davis landing strong shots, Roach responded just as well and was aggressive throughout. Sharp also questioned Davis taking a knee, comparing it to Floyd Mayweather's moment against Carlos Famoso Hernandez, where Mayweather received a standing count. He felt the same should have happened to Davis and insisted it was a knockdown. Even with the 2-point deduction, Sharp believed Roach edged out a close win, while Davis Davis fought well, Roach stayed competitive and pressed the action. The controversy over the knee and the final score has sparked debate, increasing calls for a potential rematch.
I agree with you, Stephen A., but I thought Lamont Roach actually won the fight.
Okay.
Even though Tank Davis hit him with some good, clean, hard shots, Roach came back and hit him with just as hard, if not harder shot than what he took from Tank.
Yeah.
I just thought Roach was the more aggressive fighter. You can't take a knee in the middle of the fight because Floyd Mayweather did the exact same thing. He hit the guy with a punch, and he must have broke his hand, broke a knuckle or something, and he took a knee, and they gave him a standing 8 count.
He did.
So
He broke his hand.
Even with the situation with the 2 points, I still think it was a close fight. I would, and I think it might have been a 1-point victory for Roach without the 2 points. But I definitely think Roach won the fight, and that's not to say Tank didn't fight well. Tank fought well. Tank fought like he always fight.
Veteran boxing trainer B. Yis weighed in on the controversy surrounding Tank Davis taking a knee against Lamont Roach. With over 40 years in the sport, Yis admitted he had never seen anything like it. He was surprised that Davis not only took a knee but also ran to his corner to have his face wiped, something that would usually trigger a referee's count. Yis noted that referee Steve Willis did start counting but then stopped, adding to the debate. While he acknowledged Davis's power and star appeal, he pointed out that some believe the moment should have led to disqualification, as seeking assistance through the ropes is generally not allowed. The discussion continues, with fans and analysts debating whether the knee should have been ruled a knockdown or even a DQ.
Now, as far as the knee goes, you've been in boxing for over 40 years.
Over 40.
Yeah. Have you ever seen anything like that? A guy takes a knee?
No. Now that's something I didn't expect him to do. You know what I mean? You know, he took the knee. You know what I mean? And then ran to the corner and got his eyes wiped out. They never allowed that. They would have started counting. You know what I mean? I see that he started counting, then he stopped. You know what I mean? But you got to understand, you know, Tank got a lot of power. That show you right there, he got power.
Cash cow.
That's what I'm saying. He put
Boxing analyst Paulie Malignaggi weighed in on Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach, arguing the controversy over the knee could have changed the result. He noted that if referee Steve Willis had ruled it a knockdown, Roach would have won by a point. Malignaggi compared it to Mayweather's fight against Carlos Hernandez, where Floyd took a knee and still got a standing count. He praised Roach for exceeding expectations, making the fight tougher than expected. He also questioned Davis's resume, arguing he hasn't faced the best in his division. What seemed like an easy fight for Tank ended up raising doubts about his true dominance.
And honestly backed up Gervonta Davis a lot. Ultimately, I don't think the draw is the worst decision in the world. I think, you know, obviously Lamont overperformed here, or at least the look is that he overperformed. But I'll tell you where robbery can come into play. 2 scorecards were even. There's a knockdown not given to Lamont Roach. You know, Gervonta took a knee on his own. Let's remember when Mayweather did this against Carlos Famoso Hernandez years ago when his hand hurt, the referee counted him. So that was counted as a knockdown. Steve Willis is supposed to count that as a knockdown. And if Steve Willis counts that as a knockdown, Lamont wins by 1 point on 2 scorecards. And that knee that Gervonta Davis took ends up becoming the difference on the scorecards. I don't think a draw is the worst result in the world. I will say this. There are at least 6-7 lightweights that are better than Lamont Roach.
Tank Davis's trainer addressed the knee controversy, dismissing it as neither a mistake nor an illegal act. He framed it as a tactical move, suggesting experienced fighters know when to take a knee in certain situations. Rather than seeing it as weakness, he defended it as part of the sport. Instead of dwelling on the debate, he called for a rematch, believing Tank can silence critics with a decisive win. He also acknowledged Roach's rising stock, but argued that all of Tank's past opponents have benefited from fighting him. In a rematch, he's confident Tank will settle the debate with a knockout victory.
Mistake when it came down to Tank taking that knee, or do you feel like this is something that happens in boxing?
It wasn't illegal, so I ain't gonna say it was a mistake.
That's why I asked you that exact way. Like, do you feel like it was a mistake, or do you feel like no, this is a veteran move? This is stuff that happens in boxing.
It happens in boxing. It happens in boxing. You know, it wasn't illegal. You know, just run it back. Just run it back. Shit, that's what champions do. Run it back. Carry that shit like men. Run it back.
Let's talking about that running back, the big rematch.
Former world champion Zab Judah weighed in on the controversy, arguing that only Tank Davis truly knows what he felt in that moment. He emphasized that Tank is an experienced fighter who understands the rules and wouldn't take a knee unless something serious was affecting him. Judah acknowledged that the knee wasn't caused by a punch, making it different from a typical knockdown. He pointed out that if Tank felt grease burning his eyes, that was his reality. While turning away and taking a knee isn't ideal, Judah refused to dismiss Tank's explanation, urging critics to consider the circumstances before jumping to conclusions.
I mean, we know a guy like that in a fight of a magnitude like that, with him knowing the rules and regulation and him being as professional as he is, he know way better than to turn and take a knee because he know that's a knockdown. Unless it really was something that was tragic to what, he had classified it to be like.
He said it was burning his eyes.
So we're gonna have to take that. We're gonna have to ride that out. I know Lamont, everybody not gonna like that. They're gonna say Zab taking sides and all that. Listen, we don't know. We don't know. It wasn't like he got hit or nothing. See, it's the difference if he got hit and rocked and then went down. Then we went, hold up. He took it on his own. Hold up. You know what I mean? Like that was. You know what I mean? So you gotta give him that. He didn't do it from off a hit or force or off of force. If force was intended and didn't happen, then that'd be different.
Boxing analyst Kevin, I broke down the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach fight, emphasizing how referee Steve Willis's handling of the 9th round knee played a key role in the outcome. He argued that while the fight was close, ruling the knee a knockdown could have changed the scorecards and potentially given Roach the win. I pointed out that the first half of the fight was uneventful, making judging difficult. However, as the action picked up, Roach, despite being a 16-1 underdog, proved tougher than expected. He stood toe-to-toe with Davis, landed solid shots, and never seemed in danger, while Davis appeared buzzed at times, showing Roach's punches had an effect.
Because of referee Steve Willis, nobody could have seen that coming. But a call by the referee in the 9th round was the difference in the fight, and that is really unfortunate. You can make an argument. Let's throw the 9th round controversy aside for a split second. You can make an argument on who you thought won the fight because the fight was very close. I had it 115-113 for Lamont Roach. One of the judges, Eric Marlinsky, scored it 115-113 for Tank Davis. Glenn Feldman and Steve Weisfeld had it 114-114. It was a close fight, and the first half of the fight was dreadful. And that's really, I think, where the fight was decided because look at the first round. I have the CompuBox stats up in front of me.
The controversy erupted in the 9th round when Tank Davis unexpectedly took a knee. Instead of preparing to continue, he turned to his corner, and his trainer, Calvin Ford, even stepped onto the ring apron with a towel, raising questions about whether he considered stopping the fight. Though the referee stopped Ford from intervening, he also delayed restarting the fight, giving Davis extra recovery time. Davis later claimed grease from his hair gel got into his eyes, but Yoel dismissed this excuse, stressing that boxing has no timeouts. Once a fighter takes a knee, it should be ruled a knockdown, and by not enforcing that, the referee impacted the fight's outcome.
Going on, then he turns and he goes to his corner, and you see one of his trainers, Calvin Ford, walking up the steps with a towel. Now, thankfully, referee Steve Willis did not allow Ford to work on him with the towel. Got him back in, but even when he brought him back, he didn't start the fight back right away. They had a little bit of a conversation, and Davis gets a rest. Davis later said that the reason he did that was the grease from his hair gel got into his eyes. Never heard that one before. And so that was why he took the knee. You can't do that. There are no timeouts in boxing, and basically he took a timeout. And the referee did not rule it a knockdown. When your knee hits the canvas, it is a knockdown. And the way the fight was scored, that would have been a majority decision win for Lamont Roach if it's called a knockdown. And it really was unfortunate the way it played out. So yeah, it was really something. I could not believe Willis's call there.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time.